Merry Christmas, everyone. We're bringing this video. Hopefully you guys see it on Christmas. And basically, we're just going to talk really quickly about basics. What does Christmas mean to us? And yes, we do say Christmas. I know there are people out there who celebrate Hanukkah and
Kwanzaa.
My mind went blank.
And Festivus.
Festivus. I have a friend that celebrates Festivus. So yes, there are so many different variations, and there's people who just don't celebrate at all, and it's more of a happy holiday kind of thing for them. Basically, I think this is just a time for reflection and spending it with, the people that you enjoy being with, and if that's your family or not, that's up to you. But basically, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
So, really quickly, we just want to talk about, for us, traditions. Traditions, I think, is very important. We grew up in totally different households. I grew up in a predominantly Mexican family. Henry is French, German,
white.
Found out he's Irish recently. And so they grew up really differently. But in a lot of ways, we also have a lot of similarities, which I think is very important to take away from all of this. And I know for my family growing up, it was huge. It was like a few days festival where my grandfather would go slaughter an animal. Back in the day, we're talking about people who were born in like 1910s, 20s, and they used to go and slaughter animals because that's what you did back in the day, and they roasted in a pit. And I remember my brother and I would become vegetarians for a while after that because we were like, oh, it was just horrible. My grandfather had a weird sense of humor in that we would have to watch him do this, and that was really hard for me as a person to then go and eat from this. So that's why I became vegetarian for a while. But it was really great because I saw my family. We had bonfires. It was huge. My grandparents had 15 kids, 9 of which survived childhood. And so when you have all these people and their kids, it was huge. And I loved that. And ever since my grandmother passed away almost 30 years ago, we just stopped doing that. We don't do it anymore. Now, how did you guys?
Well, I didn't experience that, but I want to say, we both come from families of farmers, farming background.
Yes.
My family predominantly German farmers. My grandfather could grow anything, and I mean anything. He's amazing.
And my family worked the fields, so yeah.
And so what she grew up with, I'm pretty sure was part of what they used to do long before my generation came to the family. But how it evolved for us became kind of in-town farming.
Yes.
Festival. We had, I remember it was more like when you see the pictures of Frank Sinatra and, the Rat Pack sitting around a table, smoking, playing cards. I have pictures that look with my father, my uncle, my grandfather sitting around a table like that. That's the image I have of Christmas. I'm serious. It's, and I don't know when it was taken, but it must have
been that generation because I remember my grandmother sitting there with a cigarette and everyone playing cards and my uncle's trying to cheat.
Yep. And that's one, and all the kids running around playing.
Yes.
We're staying out all night. We had trampoline. We're outside. It's cold, even here for Arizona. Jumping on trampoline, looking at the stars, waiting for Santa Claus. And one of the biggest kind of, I don't want to say an argument, but the kind of pushback we both had for traditions is she wanted her tradition for Christmas. And I wanted my tradition.
I think that's the thing. When you bring two cultures together, it's like you have to make a new version of it. And for us, we're Catholic. And for us, Christmas Eve is the holiday. We celebrate Christmas Eve. That's when everybody would get together and have the tamales and all that sort of stuff. The menudo, that's what we celebrate, And so I've always said I don't have a problem working on actual Christmas Day. For me, it was Christmas Eve. I needed Christmas Eve off. And with Henry, it was the other way around.
Yeah, we did. We always had a get-together because there's always people that couldn't get together on Christmas and Christmas Eve, so you had to pick one. There was a Christmas Eve celebration.
And I think it's really helped with our family because in my family, we have a lot of people who are marrying people who are not Mexicans. We're marrying white. And I laugh because this actually works out well for us because they don't have to do that whole who do we go spend Christmas with because we get together with me and my family on Christmas, we celebrate Christmas Eve, and then on Christmas Day, they can all go to their significant others' houses and spend that holiday with them. And our thing is, when do we open gifts? That was the hard one for us because we open everything on Christmas Eve. And then Christmas Day, we spend the whole day playing with it and just, we go visit family and things like that. But the big reveal was Christmas Eve. And Henry did not have that. No. So for a few years, I was kind of like, it was interesting.
We compromise.
We do.
1 or 2 gifts on Christmas Eve, but you hold off the big thing for the next day because it's anticipation and it's Christmas Day. Christmas is always very anticlimactic to me. It's got this build up.
Well, we work retail too, so
then it's like boom, and and it's kind of like all right. So reset for the year, but we've actually changed a lot of how we do things.
What we do now is we celebrate Christmas Eve. We have the tamales. We have a sub because my son is obsessed with subs. So we have a sub, and it's so much easier.
Yeah,
we pretty much don't make a meal. It's a lot of stuff that we can buy or make it ahead of time, so everybody enjoys it. And we get together. We watch a movie. We play a game. One year, my father picked for the movie, and he starts watching. He's always sitting on the sofa watching TV, and then we join him. And he was watching The Hills Have Eyes, and so now my father's not allowed to pick the Christmas movie. Okay, not a good movie.
My daughter loved it.
Oh yes, but not a good movie for Christmas. So and we.
The thing is, nobody changed it. Nobody
we were too invested. By the time we realized what we were watching. We want to know how this movie ends, but no more horror movies on Christmas. But, we do that, and then, we open gifts. And we don't do the whole stay up till midnight anymore because, we're tired. Work retail. I don't even know if my son and his girlfriend are going to be with us because my son works in a food place and his girlfriend works at a food retailer. So, yeah, that's how it goes. But we're used to it. We know how it is. Yeah. And I think it works really well for us because we open that gift, and then Christmas Day we relax, which... in retail, we need that day to recover. And I know that my son's girlfriend's not working, but my son probably most likely will be working because they're one of the few restaurants that's open. But it's great because then we go and we usually watch a movie on Christmas Day. And you know what? I know people are like, oh, that's horrible. Those movie people have to work it. I worked in a movie theater. I knew it. I knew what I got into. When I got hired, I got told
it's the same as if you work for Denny's. Denny's, you're going to be open.
Yeah.
And you know what?
You accept it. You're like, okay, I know this is going to happen. And anyway, so we'll do that. And then we'll go eat most likely at Denny's.
Or Arriba's, which is a local Mexican food chain. Yeah. The joke, if you watched A Christmas Story, the movies or whatever, that the only place open were Asian food restaurants on holidays, which we can't eat anymore.
We can't eat that no more. Yeah. So that those are our traditions. And the thing is, over time they evolve. And I think it's really interesting though because we do keep parts of what was important to us. For me, it's the family and getting together on Christmas Eve. And I think that's really interesting. But I think what's interesting is that even though we grew up totally different, our traditions still did have a lot of things that were the same.
Well, it's the whole time, and you want to call reason for the season. Yeah. Getting together, observing what's what should be happening, the connection, the happiness, the joy, the family get-togethers. And yes, I'm going to go there. God, Jesus, it's all there.
Higher power.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's we can't lose sight of that. And in today's kind of world, it's easy to be very separated and selfish and forget about all those real reasons on why we're doing all this.
Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting. And then this is the first year that we get to celebrate. We did an ancestry thing, and we found out that we actually have Jewish in us. And so I think it's really interesting because he doesn't, but the Mexican side of my family does. And we were so excited because it's like, great, a whole new culture to learn about. We actually bought my daughter a dreidel a few years ago for Christmas because she really wanted one. But I think for us, it's not so much as, we don't do that. It's like, let's incorporate this. Let's find a way to celebrate this. And it's basically celebrating with your family or your loved ones if you don't happen to have family around you. But it's finding something and reflecting. I think that's the important thing of why we celebrate it. We cannot lose sense of that. I work retail, and it's become very much a commercial holiday, and I don't like that. And so for me, I'm really big about scaling it back. We don't give as many gifts. It's more heartfelt things, and so I think that's what's important.
Yeah. For those of us who grew up in the, in the 60s, 70s, it's really changed, but
Yes.
I know for me it was an amazing time. But of course, you always remember your childhood with a bit more fondness.
Yeah, and I hope our children
Yes.
have those memories.
I think they do.
Yeah. So that is pretty much what our Christmas tradition, what it means to us. We just wanted to say Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And hope you guys have a good one. Bye.
Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open